SNK, aka Shin Nihon Kikaku Corporation, has been one of the longest standing Japanese software and hardware companies in the video game genre, bringing classics after classics to the industry since the 1970s. Now, one specific game brought a change to the shooter genre that was visually impressive and challenging, but just enough to keep you playing. Of course, I'm talking about Metal Slug. With so many games and iterations in the franchise as of 2023, there was bound to be some that went unreleased. And so in today's video, we'll be discussing the unreleased Metal Slug games.
Evil Pixel.
Dragonfly is a South Korean development company that made some relatively popular games for its demographic. Games such as Karma Online, Quake Wars Online, and Special Forces. In 2009, Dragonfly Studios announced they were working on an online adaptation of the Metal Slug series titled Metal Slug Zero Online. Now, this was in collaboration with WizHands and SNK Playmore. It's not exactly sure how much of the game was actually complete, as the game was slated to be released for South Korea with no news or updates on releases for Japan or North America. Now, Metal Slug, I feel, is a game series that needs no introduction. It's cemented its place in the run-and-gun shooter genre by not only being fun, visually enjoyable to look at, but also extremely difficult. This game rivaled the likes of Contra and Terrakin. Now, Metal Slug Zero Online's story is taken directly from its website, which has been shut down, but thanks to the Wayback Machine, can still be viewed. Now, before I read this excerpt, just know that this was a direct translation, so the English may be a little off. And it reads as follows. Metal Slug Online starts the story right after the end of its previous series, 3 years after the year 2032. Derived rage from loss of his son and defeat from series of battles has taken away from what is left on his rationalities. Moden finally decided to bring an end to the world for his revenge. His furious anger made him to quit endless and tiresome battles with people and him to start to look for an extreme way to resolve the situation and his plan. And finally, he found a way. He is now planning to bring destruction of human race by devastating the environment of Earth. Just like people say, when it rains, it pours. While Moden and his army planning this horrific strategy, remnants of previously defeated villains such as Martian, Plutonian, and Ptolemaeus, still pose a threat to the planet. After viewing and experiencing the World War and alien attack, all nations have gathered and made a decision to create the United Army of Earth. And as time goes by, they are putting more and more resources to this region of last defenses forces of human race. Because of its exponentially increased in budgets, rumors that new recruitment will soon be arrived in pale green falcons and sparrows, which were neglected by many soldiers due to their high-risk missions and excessive tasks, are spreading around the army. Now, take from that what you will. But Metal Slug Zero Online was to feature the four main protagonists series Marco, Tarma, Eri, and Fio as playable characters. Now, obviously, all four players will be able to play simultaneously online. The game's progression system was a bit different from what regular Metal Slug players are used to. The game was to use what was referred to as a metal book, and the players would fight to collect items in the form of cards that are stored in this metal book. Now, these cards are ranked from A to F, A being a high-ranked card and F being a low-ranked card. Now, once the metal book has reached 100% completion, the player could then move on to a new area with more content. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but that is how it is described. Now, it wasn't really discussed anywhere, but it appears as though Metal Slug Zero Online also featured an online deathmatch mode which was actually shown to the public. And video does exist of this mode as seen in the video playing in the background. Now there's also video floating around of character animations that would be integrated in the game. Again, this is just a video that was leaked some years ago, but it was never actually mentioned in publication. The prototype of Metal Slug Zero Online was finalized in March of 2008. The official homepage of the game was to open in that May of 2008, and the alpha build of the game was to be revealed in July of 2008, with the beta version actually planned for October of 2008 later on that year. Now by the end of 2008, they plan to run the closed beta testing, which I'm not exactly sure how they were to choose the participants, but it was mentioned on the site. Now it was later discovered that Metal Slug Zero Online was cancelled due to Dragonfly seeing the game's current state as below their standards of expectations, given the game's industry at that time. That's really all that is known of Metal Slug Zero Online. While the concept is very simple by today's standards in 2008, I'm sure people would have loved to play a fan favorite with other players online. Now, I can attest that playing Metal Slug when I was younger left a bitter taste because I didn't have another person with me to play with, as this game can be very difficult. Now interestingly enough, Dragonfly Studios was also made in charge of developing King of Fighters Online and Samurai Showdown Online. But that's a topic for another video. Now let's move on to another unreleased Metal Slug game, which is actually a series of unreleased ports. Now, the Metal Slug series saw much success in the Game Boy Advance titled Metal Slug Advance. This gave SNK the go-ahead to move forward with a few ports of previous titles to the GBA, which was announced back in 2005. It was said that this re-release port was to have the nickname Super Vehicle and was to remain untouched regarding any changes to the actual format. Now, the Japanese Famitsu site also confirmed that SNK was also releasing ports of Metal Slug 2, 3, and Metal Slug X to the Game Boy Advance. Now, in October of 2006, Famitsu magazine also announced that the ports were apparently all scrapped. Now, it was speculated that the ports got cancelled due to the amount of time that it took for the games to actually release. I mean, the PSP and the Nintendo DS were already on the rise. And additionally, the Metal Slug Anthology was about to release, which made the port releases obsolete. And in 2007, it was finally officially announced on the SNK Play More USA website that, quote, due to the limited memory size of the Game Boy Advance cartridge, the plan for Metal Slug on Game Boy Advance has been cancelled. Now, someone has found and leaked the ROM to the Game Boy Advance port of Metal Slug from two separate developer carts. However, I'm not sure how these carts actually got in the hands of the person who dumped it, but it is interesting nonetheless. Now, given how popular the franchise has gotten, who knows what else SNK had in stores for Metal Slug. Now, I actually want to give a huge shout out to one of our followers, Phoenix Gaming, on our Discord for giving us the heads up on this game, as I had no idea of this game's existence that was being planned. But unfortunately, that is what is known of these unreleased Metal Slug games. Thank you guys for watching. Check out our other videos if you'd like. Now don't forget to follow us on the other sites, Twitch or Discord if you want to discuss any unreleased games, where you can give us any suggestions for any future videos. And I'll catch you all next time.